Welcome to episode 8 of the Toronto Untitled Blue Jays podcast. I'm Steve Artabello with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. You can find us at our website, torontountilt.com. You can find our YouTube where this video will be posted, Toronto Untilt. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. You can find our audio everywhere you possibly would listen to podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Bleaker, Gesundheit, and all of the things. You can stream us everywhere. You can find us on Twitter at Toronto on Tilt. You can find us at the streaming platforms at Toronto on Tilt. It was a weird week.
It was a winning week.
It was a winning week, but it was a weird week because there's a lot of feelings. There are some feelings, and we'll get to those. Theo, I guess you and Tony will go through like a week in review. Quick little summary.
Yeah. So we'll go back and forth here. Just kind of quick recap on every game. The first game of the week was the Tuesday game against the Red Sox. Jays dropped game one of the Red Sox 4-2. Ryu started strong, blew up in the fourth inning, only could get through 5 innings of work. Defense was an absolute circus. Ball bobbling, a ball at short. Gurriel taking the worst angles towards baseballs. And good old Charlie Montoya, literally no idea. He has no idea what the purpose of pinch hitting is. Taking out Kirk for Palacio when you have a catcher sitting there who I think 2 for 28 at the time, who's worse now, Danny Jansen, leaving him in the game. So overall, bats were shit, and it was a bad Ryu start. You're not going to get many wins with that combination.
He got Fenway'd. We were talking about this before. Lefties at Fenway with the monster. It's a problem. Xander Bogaerts took advantage of it. Ryu's Ryu. Hopefully he's okay. We'll get to that, actually, I guess, when we get to today's game. But yeah, it's going to happen. Allergy season. Tony's taking it rough.
Yeah, I'm fighting through it for you guys. That's what I do.
He's playing hurt, putting the team on his back, though. Actually, I think it was like the anniversary of that Greg Jennings clip because I saw it literally everywhere on social media. If you don't know what we're talking about that, I don't know where the hell you've been, and you clearly don't have a computer and you've never played Madden or don't know what hilarity is. But go.
Was that 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 10 years ago. Yeah. Like it was at some point this week because it was everywhere. But anyways, back to baseball.
Yeah.
Tony put the team on his back, though.
That was a game. Yeah, it was a tight one, and they lost, unfortunately. But Ryu is just, he gave you his innings. That's all you can really ask for. A little short home run, whatever. But the pinch hitting, we were going crazy over that. Like, why you're pinch hitting for Kirk, for a guy who's an up and down minor league player, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You get the next game?
Yeah, well, the next one, I don't have to say too much about it because we can all boil it down to Garrett Richards. He was brutal. The Blue Jays won 6-3, and they scored 4 runs in the first 2 innings, and it was mostly because Garrett Richards couldn't throw a strike. He was all over the place. He walked 6 guys.
Yeah, like how many runs would they have scored if they literally didn't swing? I saw someone tweet that, and I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? That is genuinely a good question. I'm trying to think who actually tweeted that because I'd like to give them credit because I started it threw my mind into like a pickle because I was like, holy shit, yeah, he could not, like he would have just kept walking people.
It's not even close. He was like bouncing fastballs. Like he even threw a pickoff throw in the crowd. It was just completely all over the place.
Garrett Richards has fallen apart. I'm glad he's not one of the reclamation projects the Jays have taken a shot at.
He fit the profile. He fit the profile for sure, but we didn't end up with him. But yeah, it was a bullpen day. So Trent went 2 innings, only gave up 2 hits, no runs. Tommy Malone gave up 2 earned and 2 in the third.
The Tommy Malone thing. When is this going to end?
No, not anytime soon, dude. We have a lot of problems. And Tommy Malone is not one of them right now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is one of them. I'm like, oh god, I'm like, there's been way too many.
Listen, Tommy Malone's a stuff.
Way too many Tommy Malone.
Important bullpen piece, and he's going to lead up to our Tanner Roark 8 inning appearances. That's just what the team is right now.
We shockingly didn't see him this weekend, though.
That was a disappointment.
Thank God. Anyways.
Phelps, Burucky, Dolis, Meza, and Anthony Castro even gave up a combined 3 hits, 1 earned run to finish off the game. So that was a good one from the bullpen, and that's so far been a trend.
The bullpen putting the team on their back, though.
Yeah.
Go watch that Greg Jennings clip, for the love of God. It's fucking hilarious.
Watch the Beast Quick one, too.
Oh, the Beast Quick one is like what originated it. That's where everyone started finding this dude, and then that's how they found the Greg Jennings clip. Yeah, no, it was good to see. Like, the bullpen is really, like, I joke around. Like, the bullpen is putting the team on their back. Like, and it's not the guys we thought it would be. You know what I mean? It's waiver claims and dudes they pull off the scrap heap, which is something this team is really good at. Like, think about it. Who's the last dude they pulled off the scrap heap that was bad? JP Howell, like 4 years ago? Seriously.
We got a supply teacher.
He was one of the bigger
all-star. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was right. Because he was throwing the weighted balls. What the hell what was his name?
Steve Delabar.
That's it. Steve Delabar. Yeah, that was
teacher.
Yeah.
Well, like the fucking Rays dude who was selling solar panels.
So I didn't know they did that door to door. I guess.
And then he's out here throwing 97. Like, okay.
Well, we're doing what the Rays are doing now. We've taken their whole philosophy.
Whatever. If you can find them, it's fine. It works. Yeah. All right. Back to the games, though, boys. Where are we?
We're at the Rays series, actually. Game 1, Jays win 5-3 against the Rays. Matt's kind of tightrope through 5 innings of work. Gave up a 3-run home to Rosarena. But his defense, again, did not help him at all. Panic and ball, battle on the left side of the infield. But got to shout out Lourdes. We shit on Lourdes for his defense. He was good in this game. Made a really nice catch. They were the guy at home. So big ups to Lourdes Gurriel on that one. Most of the offense for us came with 2 outs in the first inning. Jays scored 4 runs, capped off by a Marcus Semien 3-run shot. Credit to us for telling the Jays to put him 6, because that fixed him. At least Clearly. If he's going to strike out, doesn't matter if it's 6. If he's hitting 6 and he's hitting a few home runs, you're feeling good about that. And Grichuk had another home run. He's had a really good week. So Jays
more
win.
home runs than anyone against Tyler Glasnow.
It's just wild. Wild.
We have to apologize again. We're back on the Randall Grichuk train as a podcast.
But those are like all of his hits, though. He's like 3 for 14. But whatever.
It's good slugging, bro.
Whatever. He got hot. He got hot this week. He came up in clutch situations.
Well, that's just against Glass now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Still happened. Still was useful. Still necessary.
But it was also another game where the Jays scored early and did nothing after.
So oh my God.
That's been an
all
issue.
In the first 2 innings.
Yeah.
This offense, they have problems, man. Like, they have real problems. Thank God Springer's almost back, because we keep talking about it. When he comes back and it kind of pushes everyone down, and with the fact that Biggio is starting to kind of look like the old Kevin Biggio, you know what I mean? We'll get to when we get to today's game specifically, where he doesn't hit high velocity well, and even against Patino, he's fouling off those fastballs at 95 plus that he doesn't hit well, so that he could work this is the Kevin Biggio offensively we need to see. Defense was a different story. Still don't think he's third baseman. We'll talk about that, but yeah. Oh, one thing about Marcus Semien that we were talking about, now that he's lower in the order, we were kind of talking about, like, when everyone comes back, like Semien, Gurriel, Teoscar, Grichuk, they all get so hot and cold. They're kind of interchangeable. And when they get hot, they hit for power too. So it's kind of a luxury to have all of them. You know what I mean? Like, once hopefully everyone gets healthy, because they are kind of interchangeable in the middle of your order, depending on which one of them are going. You know what I mean? Because when they really get going, they can, you know what I mean? Like, when Semien really gets going, he was an MVP candidate. You know what I mean? We saw what Teoscar did last year. He won a Silver Slugger. We've seen Randall at times get really hot. You know what I mean? And then Gurriel, the same thing. We've seen him get so hot that he can carry the team, even though he needs to do that fucking soon, because it's getting scarce out there right now for him.
So, Tony, you got the next game?
Well, the next game was a loss. Lost 5-3. Again, that trend we were talking about, scoring early in the game and then doing nothing the rest of it. That's exactly what happened. Another 3-run home run right off the bat. This one was from Randall. He crushed one. But after that, zeros, goose eggs throughout the game. And, 3 runs, not enough runs. Robbie Ray
was phenomenal.
It was enough for Robbie Ray until the 6th inning. Then
One bad pitch, honestly, for Robbie Ray the entire game. Like of course, it came on a breaking ball because his fastball, like he was feeling it. He was pumping fastballs. The strike zone sucked, but he kind of fought through it. It didn't really matter. That was the best version of Robbie Ray. Like, not to mention, Robbie Ray seems to really pitch well against the Tampa Bay Rays. Remember that playoff start where they used Shoemaker as the opener? Like,
we all lost our minds about it.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about Robbie Ray and the Rays, and they can't seem to hit him, and I like it. I'm about it.
The Rays can't hit much right now.
Yes, facts,
they're
but
pretty cold. Yeah.
I like it. And again, it was unfortunate.
Kiermaier's the only good player against us.
But only against the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
He sucks against the rest of the league.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or he's hurt. And he's the MVP against the Blue Jays. And, oh, my God. And then, like, talking about Biggio. So before we get to the play, and Tony, I guess, will break it down a little bit. Something I heard from Arden Zwelling this week, because we were talking about last week, I was specifically very low on Biggio as a third baseman. I just don't think that's the position he's going to play because I didn't think he could throw the ball. Apparently, coming out of camp, he had a sprained finger in his throwing hand. And then think about it. He's been hit in that hand 3 different times. You know what I mean? So he's dealing with the sprain, then he gets hit and he's got the messed up pinky, and then he took the ball off the hand. You know what I mean? And it messes up all of his fingers. So he's never been able to grip the ball properly, which is why, remember how we've talked about sometimes it looks when he sets his feet and throws like he can really get a lot on it. And you're like, no, that's a dude who's got enough arm. And then when you see when he's just kind of throwing like just in the foot, like has to get to the ball and just chuck it, he doesn't throw very hard. I wonder if there's a little bit of saving grace there in the arm strength because he can't grip a baseball. So and if he can't grip a baseball, and here's the thing though, and if he can't grip a baseball, if he did sprain his finger coming into the season, like maybe the fact that he couldn't hit also makes more sense. And what the hell were they doing then? Just trotting him out there if clearly it was that big of an issue.
I got a star like Espinal behind him.
Are we gonna get into that? Because we were talking about Espinal and how we think that like there's a problem. Like I have a bad feeling Santiago Espinal is gonna turn into Ryan Goins, Johnny Mac 2.0.
Hard worker, does all the little things,
and he's gonna get
guys like that.
He's gonna be the 50-year-old baseball fan's biggest dream
because he plays. Dream. Like you saw him today, like he got a couple of singles. You know what I mean? And played a really nice third base. And it's just people like I have this feel like remember when he played shortstop, Ryan Goins at second base, and people are just like the defense, and you're like they can't hit, and then all of a sudden like Johnny Mac had that season where he kind of started for most of it and wasn't terrible, but also wasn't great. And then Ryan Goins got super hot at the end of 2015, and everyone just remembers that, and they don't remember the fact that he could never hit other than that weird season where he was super clutch. Like that just out of nowhere, he just hit with men in scoring position. He's never duplicated ever again. Like it's just, I have this feeling Santiago Espinal is going to turn into this guy for this fan base. I just see it, especially after today.
As long as these guys, everyone else struggles at third base, it's just going to be even stronger. With Biggio, I wouldn't even thought he was injured. It just looks like that all the time to me. I don't know.
Exactly. Like I didn't know that until not today, but a couple days ago when I heard that from Arden Zwelling, who covers the team. And yeah, it's like, how the hell if he had a sprain for like what are we doing here? But okay, I guess so.
I don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of questions with the injury so far and how we're handling certain shit, and it's not a positive.
Yeah, no, and it's not great. And something we talked about too with Marcus Semien that always surprised me.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, get to the last.
Let's get through the week. We'll get the recap. People don't know what happened.
And then we'll talk about this. Yeah,
just got up from under the rocks now.
We just finished Sunday's game. Jays win 1-0 the rubber game against the Rays. Ryu only pitched 3 2/3, was pretty good. But got hurt in a reoccurring glute injury, which is always good to see.
So he pulled his butt.
Pretty much.
But apparently it's mild. I'm terrified.
He knew right away. That's not a good thing.
Here's the thing. They said it was mild. So here's the thing. we'll find out more about this. I'm hoping this is one of those things where it's like he knew it, called it, and because they have so many off days, maybe he doesn't start again until next week. Because think about it, they're playing these two interleague series, so there's always a bunch of off days there, and I think we do have multiple like at least 2 off days again this week.
Yeah.
Maybe exactly. So maybe he's a dude that you could push to Saturday or Sunday and not have go on the IL.
Well,
hopefully.
Maybe Springer and him just can't play on the same team at the same time. That could be it.
Voodoo. Well, talking about Danny Jansen is cursed.
Yeah.
Danny Jansen is cursed. But yes, get to it.
The rest of this shit. The best pen in Major League Baseball, and it's not fucking close right now. We get put anyone in this pen. It's great. Good job, Mays.
Waiver from the Tigers, who are one of the worst teams in all of baseball. Doesn't matter. He gets a save. Star.
Mays, Chatwood, Burucky, Phelps, Dolis. Good job today. Offense didn't do dick again. It's a recurring theme. We only offense from the star
Santiago Espinal
with a blue pit. And again, another Charlie head scratcher with not hit. You got Rise first and third in a 1-run game in Tampa Bay, a team you always have these weird games against, and you're leaving Danny Jansen in there. I know he hit the ball hard, but you have Kirk, and you're just not playing him.
Not to mention, and Danny Jansen. This is what I mean. This is what Danny Jansen is cursed because coming into this game, he had an 0.54 average, but we've talked about BABIP and how it's a luck stat, and BABIP league average is 300. Danny Jansen's BABIP coming into this game was 0.077. And today he hits a ball 105 miles an hour and did something that I've never seen in baseball. Not like this, anyways. Like I've seen guys' gloves come off, but not in this way. Where Danny Jansen knocked the glove off the guy who is the shortstop but playing third base because of the shift, because, yes, baseball makes sense now. But it took Joey Wendell's glove completely off of his head. Didn't matter. Still got an out because it was hit so hard. Danny Jansen is cursed. Just the way it is.
It was actually Mike Brasso, but yeah, it was the same.
No, Mike Brasso.
Just his approach at it, he was freaked out by the spin or whatever, and it ended up hitting the bottom, and it knocked it right off. Just I don't know. Danny, it's good to see him. He's hitting the ball hard right now. He wasn't doing that all year. That's part of earlier in there he was not hitting the ball hard at all. It was ugly. But, maybe these hard hit balls will find holes soon. That would make Charlie happy.
We've cursed him.
He wouldn't have to play Kirk.
I was hoping he could be average.
Before the season, Steve said, Danny Jansen was his guy, his surprise guy. Tony Tellez, who's kind of coming back. Mine, a guy who's hurt, and Teoscar Hernandez. So
who already broke out.
We can blame it was a really bunch of a hedge pick. We all fucked it up. We all ruined our team pretty much with these picks.
Should have picked Randall. Should have picked new Randall.
Well, he wouldn't be good then.
This is true. We had to mush him for it to be good, so we can take credit for that.
I'm still doing it.
Continue it.
He's horrible.
That was the week, though. We had a winning week, but it kind of series winning against the Rays in Tampa is always a good thing, but
it should have been a sweep.
And our only series wins this year against the Yankees Rays, which is
and we didn't talk about the Biggio play, and I guess we'll get back to it. And now we'll talk about the Semien thing and third base in general. So Biggio doesn't make that play at third base again, and we've talked about the hand, and we've talked about everything, and now we're seeing him play a lot of right field. So we'll go back to the Semien thing because this was actually what we kind of want to circle back to this. When he signed, didn't everyone think he was playing third base?
Until they said he's only playing second.
And Biggio was playing third, and none of us understood, right? And now it just we talked about this before the podcast. And the only thing that makes sense to me is that the only reason that he's playing second base and not third base is because that was a decision and an agreement made before he signed here. Yeah. That he took a look around and went, who's the best second baseman in baseball? And honestly, think about it. Because we tried to do this before, and I was like, Ozzie Albies, the course of Altuve, who's hurt, and Tony brought up the right answer. Say it again for the people in the back, Tony.
Whit Merrifield, final answer.
Exactly. And And you might be asking, who's that? He plays for the Royals.
He makes like $2 million a year.
He's got like 3 successive options, and he plays for the Royals, and he's really, really good at baseball, but no one pays attention to him. But again, think about it. So I think that Marcus Semien, there was an agreement made that he was going to move to second base. That's the position he would play because he would take a 1-year deal, and he would go back into the market trying to hit it big and be one of the best second basemen in baseball. Because think about it, at third base, how many teams need a third baseman other than the Blue Jays?
Not many.
Every team in baseball could use a second baseman other than the Yankees with DJ LeMahieu. And if they don't have DJ LeMahieu, you just put Glaber there, and that's where Glaber was best. Like, it's really the Yankees are the only team that have that luxury. And the Royals, because they have Whit Merrifield, even though they play him in center field sometimes because they're the Royals and they do weird Royals things.
They're so desperate for second baseman. Odor still has a job.
He's a Yankee, which, again, when you have, with the men that they have, the guys in the positions, and the Yankees doing dumb things and being bad at baseball just warms my heart. Okay. It makes me feel good. And it also was the last time that the Jays were in the playoffs or when the Yankees couldn't figure out baseball. So hope this continues. But yeah, that Semien thing is just,
and if it really hurts with Biggio, because I don't know if Tony said this on the pod or just privately, but Biggio kind of fits that role of a utility guy. You can just kind of move around, and he's good enough to play one day at a position. But now that he has to play every day at third, it's gonna be so exposed the bad things he does. So
exactly,
that's the thing with utility guys in general. If they were so great, they'd be locked into one position.
Right?
His perfect role would be that guy, like to be not an Aspinall with a better bat, like to be that guy can play everywhere.
He plays every day still, but he plays somewhere else every day. He plays left field. He plays right field. He plays first base. He plays third base. He plays second base. He DHs one day. You know what I mean? Like, he literally moves all over the diamond. And yeah, that's kind of what I think he'd be best at. And yeah, I don't know if Tony said that actually on the pod or before, but that kind of seems like what the organization also wants for him. It kind of seems what everyone thinks is his best role, and we're kind of seeing it. And again, hey, maybe it's the hand, right? Like, I guess this is the last life preserver you get here before I go. You just don't. Okay, I already don't think he's a third baseman. I've already said it, but like, okay, maybe there's a chance. And if it's not this, you know what I mean? Like, if this isn't the thing, then they got to figure this out.
Especially with Bichette. Like, we both love Bichette, and he's struggling hitting now, but we'll get out of that. Defensively, though, if they're both playing below average, that's just disaster.
And the thing with Bo, I want to say this. We brought this up, I want to say 2 podcasts ago when we were talking about young shortstops and Fernando Tatis Jr. and how amazing Fernando Tatis Jr. is, and him hitting fucking 4 home runs over the weekend against Clayton Kershaw and Trevor Bauer, and then just fucking mocking Bauer with the eye closed and the strut. And he
posted a funny meme today too.
Oh my god, too, with the baby. And they're going back and forth, and it's just
Bauer's like, I gotta be the fun baseball guy, but this guy's like,
I have the sword shirt, which is the sword celebration he did when he struck out Hosmer, and then Hosmer did it after he got a hit when he was on first base. And it's just, this is what baseball needs to be. This is what baseball needs to be. They
actually put that game Sunday Night Baseball tonight, which was they should have
about damn time.
Yeah.
But MLB.com. If you live in California, you can't watch that game because of blackouts on MLB.com. But whatever.
We had to get the Cubs last week on Sunday night. That was important.
Yeah, but Bo's not moving. Like, they talk about Bo moving the second and having to move Bo when you have Marcus Semien and move Bo. Fernando Tatis Jr. wasn't good at the beginning. Trevor Story wasn't good at the beginning. And Javier Baez, who is one of the best defensive shortstops in all of baseball, and Bo will never have that arm. But Baez came to the big leagues as a bat-first player. He was a train wreck defensively, and he is one of the best gloves in baseball. What I'm saying is some of the best shortstops in the game right now did not come up as finished products, and that's what you're seeing with Bo. We talked about this before. It's just reps. You know what I mean? And it's going to be infuriating. It is. It really is. But this is how he's going to have to work through it.
There's so much correlation too with the at bat and the field. When they're struggling at bat, I don't know what it is, but so many players just bring their problems into the field, and even the stupidest mistakes, you can just tell. Like when he starts slumping, his whole like demeanor changes, and it's they're very emotional players. They're so young, but like Bo, when he's struggling, you can very much tell on both sides of the field right now.
But that's one thing about Danny Jansen. He is not doing that. He's
still can't be, because if he wasn't good defensively.
Yeah, this is true.
I know that's his whole livelihood, is being able to catch baseballs.
Bo to me also seems very much like a confidence player. You know what I mean? When Bo's hitting, everything goes right. You know what I mean? Bo's making great, like you said, Bo's defense looks phenomenal when Bo's hitting. You know what I mean? And when Bo's hitting, Bo's not just hitting dinky singles. Bo's hitting the ball really, really hard, and you see it in his swings. And you saw it today, actually. They talked about it in the postgame. Joe Siddle brought it up. Bo's leg kick started to change today. Like you're starting to see him make changes, and he does that a lot because he tweaks a lot with his swing mechanics because they're so wild. You know what I mean? Like again, people have talked about this to death. His 2-strike approach is completely different, and some people want the 2-strike approach all the time because he's a lot quieter and he's a lot better hitter. But the reason Bo hits the ball so fucking hard is because of the stuff he does not on 2 strikes. Like when he ambushes that first pitch, fastball, breaking ball, whatever he guesses it is, and hits it a million miles because he puts that massive swing on it. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of who he is. And I think he's probably just got to learn not to ride the highs and lows, which again, this is what happens when you have one of these young players. And just go look at Fernando Tatis Jr. Like he's not a finished product. Everyone loved him. He hit 4 home runs over the weekend. So far, and you know what I mean? Not over the weekend. It's not even over yet. He's hit 4 home runs already, and it isn't over yet. He's still making tons of errors and bad plays at shortstop. You know what I mean? But no one talks about that, and he just signed a $300 and whatever $1 million contract. You know what I mean? This is what you're going to deal with. You know what I mean? This is just it. I keep saying, you know what I mean? I just sound like a fucking broken record at this point.
Even with Vlad, too, because you talked about the approach. Like, even Vlad this weekend, there was points where you're like, oh, he's kind of back to a little bit old Vlad with like some of his wild swings, but he's able to catch it now, and they're both able to, like, they know themselves so well. They just like they're young and it's going to happen, but if they're able to fix it on their own, that's like a positive to take from it.
Exactly. That's what you got to look for, right? Like, and again, positively, if Biggio starts to look better offensively, hopefully, like Bo and like Vladdy, maybe that carries over to third base. You know what I mean? The fact that his at-bats are looking better. I'm really pulling at straws with him for now defensively. I'll be fully honest. I'm not even going to, I don't think he's a third baseman. I've said it multiple times. Hopefully that kind of gets him going, allegedly. We'll see. But again, Springer's supposed to come back. And if Biggio kind of starts getting it going and you bring Springer back, again, we've talked about this offense with him at the top, getting everything going with Bo, with Vladdy, and now if you add Biggio and Grichuk is hitting, and then if Grichuk's not hitting, you have all the other guys coming back. That's what we're about to see finally. We're almost there. You know what I mean? We're getting so goddamn close. So hopefully we get there.
It should be Tuesday is what they're saying now. They hinted at Sunday for a bit, but...
So the plan was he played apparently today a full 9 innings in center field in a sim game. So
and Pearson threw in a sim game too. We should mention that too.
Yeah, and he played actually not against the Blue Jays. They played the Marlins like alternate site guys. So they actually did play a game. The stats don't matter because it's literally just about stretching him out. He threw 51 pitches. That's the number that matters. Honestly, he might have we don't know what pitches he was throwing. And some of these, like these comeback, like rehab stretch him out starts, it's like spring. We talked about it where they'll throw 1 pitch or 2 pitches the entire time. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what his stats were. What matters is that he threw 51 pitches. Why that matters is he's going to have at least 1 more rehab start to try to get him up around 70 something. And with Ryu's glute injury, I think that means he's not going to get that next rehab start to get over 80 so that you bring him back fully stretched out. I think he's going to get 1 more rehab start and he's in the bigs.
And he might have a Trent Thornton game, which we were talking about not wanting him to do, but that might have to happen.
The only positive is if he gets up to 70-something pitches in his next start, it means hopefully he can be in the 80s in his big league debut. So hopefully he's not throwing 80 in 2 innings, because that would be a problem.
It would not be allowed by our organization.
That's a good point. They would not let him have a 40-pitch inning. There's no fucking chance. Oh God, but like, hopefully Ryu's all right, because that's kind of that's really the big one. You know what I mean? Because like Springer's coming back, and it's, you know what I mean. There's good vibes. The guys are getting back, and if you lose Ryu,
also, should we talk about Romano a bit, because he came
he
back?
ain't looked right.
Of course,
The last few
He hasn't
starts
looked right since the
before his
finger injury that knocked him out last year. Am I wrong?
No, he's looked a
Yep.
little bit off.
yeah, he's been too wild. Like, you're gonna bring him in high leverage because he's Jordan Romano. He's your guy, and he just wasn't on last game. He hasn't been on all year, and he didn't pitch today. I thought we might see him, maybe,
No.
but
We have
maybe
guys.
maybe Tuesday he'll have a couple of days off. Hopefully,
Here's
we'll
the
see more.
issue. Our fucking offense needs to actually have a blowout game so we can get some of these relievers who are struggling low leverage work.
Right.
Everything's high leverage right now.
Yeah,
Well, and like Dolis looks like he's back. Like it's funny, this bullpen, how it works. You know what I mean? And we kind of joke around too. Like Dolis has to start every count 0-1 or 1-0, but then it doesn't matter. He seems to get out of it. He's like, he is a human rain delay, and he is stress inducing, but he's a good reliever, and he is literally one of those dudes you have to tell. Like, who's the last dude that you remember like this? Actually, out of the Jays bullpen.
Jason Fraser.
No. Not in terms of taking a long time. Like the guy that comes out that gives you heart palpitations, but if you look at their numbers, is actually like a really good reliever.
Cecil probably.
That's actually the exact name I was going to go with, Tony. With Brett Cecil, and it's specifically that
game
year.
winner, Brett Cecil.
No, it was the year. Remember the year he
Respect.
got hot? Actually, it was 2015. The year he got hot, and then he ended up tearing his fucking calf muscle. But he sucked the beginning of that. And like, even when he was on that insane scoreless streak where he didn't allow a run from Father's Day to like whatever the hell he finally allowed a run.
Yeah.
For like the first half of that streak, he would come into the game and you just did not trust him in any way, shape, or form. But he was lights out. And I feel like that's Dolis. You know what I mean? Like, aside from
we remembered him as a starter too, and we're like, oh, he's not a good starter. We already had a negative impression of him. But then by the end, I remember he was a free agent, and I was banging the table like, we need to keep Brett Cecil. We need Brett Cecil. And the Cardinals gave him a no trade clause.
And a lot of money and a 4-year contract, and he was bad.
You know who's fitting his profile now?
I was with Tony on that. Huh?
You know,
who?
Tyler Chatwood. As soon as he's coming to the pen here, like, I've been pretty impressed. And I was remembering him as the starter, like, oh, fuck, we're going to bring this guy in, and he's going to blow up every game. But he's been good under the pen.
Phelps has been good out of the pen. Like, these guys, like, and we were talking about it, like, even Piamps, and I was joking around about Anthony Castro, who's a waiver from the Detroit Lions, but I mean, he throws hard, and that slider's kind of nasty. He doesn't really know where anything's going. That seems to be a consistent with Anthony Castro is Danny Jansen or Alejandro Kirk will set up somewhere. And that is not generally where they end up when the ball is received. But hey, when you throw upper 90s, like 95 plus, and that slider moves like fucking 4 feet.
Yeah, that helps.
You can afford to make mistakes sometimes, right?
My guy Ty Tice could have trouble making this bullpen at this rate.
Yeah, he's gonna have
so
issues.
High right now, honestly. If not Ty Tice, one of our other relievers, because Ty Tice is a valued commodity.
We should
They
also
can't actually afford to do that, considering all the injuries.
We haven't brought this guy up. I know this is like a bullpen dick sucking fest right now, but Ryan Burucky, that looks amazing. Like,
there are so many now, just Andrew Miller, Ryan Burucky, like the Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire, like rubs eyes, puts on glasses, and it's like one pitcher's Andrew Miller.
Or the point at each other one.
That Spider-Man one, or the corporate wants to tell you the difference between these two pitchers, and it's Andrew Miller and Ryan Burucky, and there's no difference between these two pitchers. Like, that's actually what we're starting to see out of Ryan Burucky, and it's incredibly exciting. Like, he came out today, first pitch 98, just fucking ridiculous. That slider is, remember how slurvy and just a bad, not MLB quality pitch that thing was?
Yeah.
Like, he was a 3-pitch finesse lefty starter, and now he's just a dominant blow you away lefty reliever out of the pen who throws upper 90s, almost 100. And actually, hasn't he hit 100? He might have been one of the guys who's also hit 100. And now that fucking slider has been as high as like 92, and it's consistently 87 plus. Like, yeah, that's an arm I'm very excited about. And considering the injuries, I think this is actually the role that best suits Ryan Burucky. It's very exciting.
We've always kind of felt that way about Burucky. Like, even when we put him in the rotation and they were all trying to hype him up, he's our next pitcher in our rotation. But like, watching him pitch, like, we knew in the bullpen as a lefty, like, that's the kind of guy we're missing.
I was kind of excited for him because he seemed like a guy that could miss bats, but he was just hurt all the time. Not miss bats, like, sorry. Yeah. He seemed like a Mark Burley type of guy, the opposite of miss bats, like a pitch to contact, like just limit damage is kind of what I was trying to get at. Like, limit the really, because he at first he didn't get hit really hard, but the issue is just he was hurt all the goddamn time. So hopefully this reduction in workload and putting him in the bullpen keeps him healthy, because he's a weapon. He really is. You know what I mean? There's no other way to say it, because he's not a lefty specialist. So he can come out and get righties.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we got everything kind of.
I was gonna say, anything else you guys wanted to go over this?
Slobbering over these relievers. That's really
it's fuck, man. It's bailed the season out so far. You know what I mean?
All we've really been able to celebrate, honestly, the rest of this team.
Yeah, and hopefully we see more of what we saw out of Robbie Ray. More of the same out of Mats. You know what I mean? Like, 3-run dinger sucked, but that was going to happen at some point. You know what I mean? One of those was going to happen. He was going to get hit. At some point, he was going to give up a dinger. You know what I mean? It's the American League East. It was going to happen. He still looks good, though, because it's not like he fell apart. No. Right?
Give the one home run, and that was pretty much it.
Right, so you got to hope Ryu's better. Pearson's getting healthy. Right? Like, Springer's coming back. Like, think about it. They should have swept. Think about the amount of times we've said the defense has cost them a game, and this team is what, 2 games under 500? They're 9-11. No, they're 10-11 after 10, right?
Said the same thing last year too. How many games could we, the defense cost them, and they just found a way to hold up.
The difference is last year it was like, how many times did the defense cost them if they could just put it together? It wasn't how many times, because did the defense cost them. And oh, by the way, George Springer's on his way back, and Teoscar, who was a Silver Slugger, is on his way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the guys that are coming back are of a different quality. And the big thing is Nate Pearson, because Vladdy's doing what we talked about before the season. And he's living up to all the things. And if Nate Pearson can come back, and if Nate Pearson, I don't know where the lisp there just came from. Yeah. Well, see, if he's got that much power, if he comes back and he's that guy, like if he's Mike Tyson, like that, if he's the killer Mike, you know what I mean? If he's the fucking that good, if he's the ace he's supposed to be, my God, like, look at what this team could be, even with the defense. You know, because they're just gonna hit that offense should be able to hit its way out of there, and Pearson and company should just be able to strike their way out. Like, okay, cool. We can't let them put the ball in play. Fine, we'll strike everybody out. It's exciting. Like, that's the funny thing, is like, there's so much negative. We haven't even been super positive. And this team's not terrible. This team is young and getting better. And George Springer is one of the best players in baseball, and he's coming back. You know what I mean? Teoscar did win a Silver Slugger last year. He's coming back. Nate Pearson is still one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. He's thrown 105. Well, 104.9, I think it was. Still, you know what I mean? Like, he's coming back. It's exciting times, as long as Ryu's fine. Because that's just kind of the little thing where I'm
going to be really cautious. Take every precaution with Ryu. We don't want to rush him back at all. And
exactly.
Have him for the long run.
Just gotta protect the booty. Just keep it safe. Gluteus,
keep off the squat
whatever
rack.
It was.
Yeah,
exactly.
Off the squat rack this week.
Just chill.
Try to keep Ryu to the gym. That's like.
Yo, you know what they need to do, actually? He needs. Too bad he wasn't around when David Price was here, and he didn't have one of those scooters, because then he wouldn't have to worry. He could just scoot around. Hopefully,
then
someone left theirs.
That hurts your gluteus.
Honestly, hopefully someone left theirs around the facility, and they can just like lend it to Ryu, and he can just use that.
Like the Costanza
just drive around.
Just beeping everywhere.
That would be amazing.
But
man.
Anyways, this week though, got some attitude, got some Braves. Probably the best time to play these kind of teams.
Interleague baseball. Yeah, interleague baseball.
We get actual DHs and real baseball.
Soto might be coming back. We don't know. We'll see. If he's not playing, that's pretty massive. If you get to dodge,
and Trey Turner got hurt today too.
If you get to dodge their two best players, and Soto is one of the best players in baseball, not just best young players. Like me and Tony were arguing before the podcast about. We were arguing about who is better, Soto or Trout. But the funny thing is like I just think Mike Trout is the best player in baseball and is going to be one of the best ever to play the game. Like maybe the GOAT. But you can make the argument that Juan Soto is potentially better right now. Like that's how good Juan Soto is.
My argument is just as a hitter, I'm saying Soto definitely. But
Tony's saying this because Tony has him in our league. I was actually arguing not for Trout, who Theo owns. I was arguing for Acuna, who I own. But nobody cares about anyone else's fantasy league. So we will end this podcast before we go too in depth. Unless you boys have anything else you want to get to?
No.
That's all I got.
All right.
You're asking for president.
Oh God, it's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be the fan favorite. But that's all for episode 8 of the Toronto Until Blue Jays podcast. We do have to come up with a name for this other than just the Toronto Until Blue Jays podcast. All right, well, maybe we'll name this later. Maybe it is the Toronto Until Blue Jays podcast. Whatever it is, this is episode 8. You can find our website, torontountilt.com. We will add some articles up there at some point. We'll get back to the writing. You can find our video on YouTube, Toronto Untilt. The video, they didn't delete us again. Hopefully, leave us alone, YouTube.
They shadow banned us. That explains.
We're cool. All right. And you can find our audio everywhere. You can find it on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Bleaker, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, share. And until next week, we'll see you later.